Welcome to the Big Tire Adventure channel. This channel is all about me sharing with you some of the local knowledge and tips and tricks that I have learned from traveling to some of the most iconic off-road destinations in the world. Today's video is all about possibly my favorite place inside the continental United States, and that is Moab, Utah. The first thing that we're going to cover about Moab, Utah is when in the calendar year is the best time to go. Well, if you're a Jeep enthusiast, honestly, in my opinion, the best time to go is during Easter Jeep Safari. But if you happen to be a fan of another type of off-road vehicle, do a little bit of research and you'll probably find that they have a meetup in Moab probably every single year. I know that there's a bunch of UTV specific events that happen in Moab. There's some Land Cruiser specific events and even some Bronco events that happen inside Moab every single year. Easter Jeep Safari happens in the spring, so obviously that sort of leads you to believe that the best time to visit Moab is going to be in the spring, but it's also a good time to visit in the fall. Basically bookend either end of the summer. I have gone to Moab in the summer. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just incredibly hot. We're talking about right around 95 to 100 degrees all day long. In that spring and fall window, what you're going to get is nice warm days that cool off during the night, and you're not going to be uncomfortable in your vehicle for a day on the trail. So in my opinion, best time to visit Moab, Utah is either going to be spring, so we're talking about March, April, or in the fall, so September, October. One of the most common questions that I get asked about Moab is how modified does my vehicle need to be? You see all the videos, I'm a victim of it as well because I take incredibly highly built vehicles to Moab. We're talking 40-inch tires, 1-ton axles, coilovers, 4-link, all that kind of stuff. But the reality is to have a fun Moab trip, you don't need all of that. Ideally, what you need at the minimum is going to be a set of 33 or 35-inch tall tires, lockers front and rear preferably, but you honestly could get away with just a locker in the back, and most importantly, a good recovery setup. So obviously a winch in the front and then recovery equipment to go with you. The nice thing about Moab is there's trails for all levels of vehicles. So you could go on a trail that realistically you don't even need lockers on and you'll have a great day. What you're in Moab for is the scenery. But if you want to hit those bucket list trails that I'm going to list a little bit later on, my suggestion is 35 to 37-inch tall tires, lockers front and rear, good recovery points front and rear, as well as a good functioning winch, recovery equipment, and some type of skid plate and rocker protection for your vehicle, and you can pretty much hit any trail in Moab as long as you keep your head on straight, and you'll have a great time. Don't forget, though, to plan not only for your vehicle, plan for yourself. A lot of the trails in Moab, especially around Easter Jeep Safari, you could be out there for 4 or 5 hours away from civilization. So plan to keep yourself hydrated and fed. Make sure you don't have to overpack food, but there's nothing wrong with overpacking water. Make sure that you have enough water on your vehicle to take care of yourself and possibly anyone else in your group, and then snacks. 12-volt fridges are great. They'll keep everything cool all day, but you can honestly get away with a good cooler because you'll just fill it up every morning with ice and it will last you the day. But don't forget to think about yourself when you're out on those trails. So what are you going to do if you break? Well, Moab is a fairly populated area, so it does have things like parts stores as well as a few small off-road shops. You can get parts that you need to fix your vehicle there if you have to, but rare items like axle shafts for a Dana 60, that is going to be a little bit harder to come by. You might be able to easily find parts for popular models of Jeeps like the JK or the JL, but older Jeeps and custom parts are going to be days out to get to you. So if you're only there for a week, I would suggest bringing spare items like spare axle shafts, spare U-joints, and pretty much everything that you think could fail on your Jeep. My suggestion would be to address items like steering, ball joints, axle shafts, drive shafts, and I don't think you're gonna need a ring and a pinion, and if you do, you don't necessarily wanna change it in Moab, Utah. So I would say make sure that you're equipped with those items that you take with you. There's nothing wrong with having a spare front and rear drive shaft, at the very least, back at your camp or at your condo, so if it does break on the trail, you can fix it. If you break on the trail, well, you're kind of on your own if you're on your own, and it's very difficult to get out. There are some off-road recovery companies that operate outside of Moab, and probably the most popular one is Rory and the guys from Trail Mater. They will come and get your vehicle off of the trail if you have to, but it's always best to wheel with a group when you're in Moab, because the trails can be very remote when you get out of town. But what if you don't have a Jeep or an off-road rig? Or maybe what if you don't feel like towing your vehicle all the way to Moab, Utah? Don't worry. You can rent fully built Jeeps in Moab to go and tackle some of the trails. My favorite rental company that I have dealt with in the past to get Jeeps for film crews when we're filming out there is Cliffhanger Jeep Rentals. I'll put a link to their website in the description below. They have always helped us out, and they have some of the best selections of Jeeps in Moab, and the owner is an off-roader, so he understands what you're going to be doing with his vehicle. Most importantly, he will help guide you onto the trails that you'll be able to take those Jeeps on and have a fun day in the Red Rocks of Moab, Utah. Where to stay in Moab? Well, because Moab is such a tourist destination, there's a lot of places to stay. There's multiple hotels with everything from incredibly cheap hotels all the way up to 5-star resorts. There's multiple options when it comes to short-term rentals. You can either rent from a popular online website, or you can do what I do, which is you can contact the local rental agencies, and they are boots on the ground there to help you get into wherever you want to stay. I'll put a link to the one that I use, Red Rock Management, in the description below. They will help you find the perfect short-term rental that you might want. Or you have a couple options when it comes to camping. If you are an RVer or you're looking for some type of campground, there's multiple campgrounds in and around Moab, Utah. Or because Moab is surrounded by BLM land, you can do what's called boondocking. Boondocking means that you are able to camp on that public land for a certain amount of time. I honestly think it's 20 days, then you have to move, but don't quote me on that. You can camp there, there's no charge, but there's also no services. The best way to find dispersed camping, that's what it's called, or off-grid camping or boondock camping, is to use the Onyx Off-Road app. I use Onyx all the time when I travel, when I'm off-road. Onyx Off-Road actually has a feature that helps you find dispersed campsites that allow you to camp. But remember, if you choose to boondock or disperse camp or off-grid camp, there are no services. So no water hookup, no sewer, and no power. So plan for that. And as I said before, remember it gets really hot in Moab from June, July, August. So make sure that you have enough water at your campsite. The good news is Moab is a very popular destination for other types of outdoor enthusiasts, like whitewater rafters and kayakers, rock climbing and bouldering, as well as hiking. So the city of Moab does have a list of locations on their website that will tell you where you can do things like wash your clothes or take a shower for a small fee if you need to. If this is your first time going to Moab and the first time towing your trailer and a long distance like that, here's my suggestion of the things that you should do to your trailer. Make sure that you have 2 spare tires that are in good shape, ready to go. Take a spare hub for one of your axles, so that's either a complete free spin hub or a full brake assembly, just in case the hub goes bad. That way you can replace it. Take extra ratchet straps in case a ratchet strap fails along the way, and believe it or not, take extra lights. We've lost lights between here and Moab before. So if you take an extra clearance light or an extra marker light, because if you get pulled over for losing that light for whatever reason, you can at least quickly change it out and hopefully avoid a ticket. If you're going to fly to Moab, you do have some options. You can fly directly into Moab, but flights are limited. A better option is to either fly directly into Grand Junction, Colorado, or fly into Salt Lake City. The drive from Salt Lake City is just under 4 hours, and it's a very pretty drive. You actually can include a trip through Zion National Park if you wanted to, which is absolutely amazing. If you're coming from Grand Junction, it's only about an hour and a half to get from Grand Junction to Moab, so it's a very short trip indeed. So if I was flying into Moab, I usually fly into Salt Lake City because I can get a direct flight from my airport, and there's a lot more options when it comes to rental cars. Rental car options inside Moab, rental car options at the Moab airport, I don't even think there are any. You might be able to arrange, if you're renting a Jeep, to have the Jeep rental company pick you up at the airport, but there's also a shuttle that can pick you up at the airport and drop you off at your short-term rental or your hotel. I'll put a link to the shuttle service that we've used before. It just makes life a lot easier. What trails should you run in Moab? Really, that's going to depend on the vehicle that you bring, but here are my absolute must-run trails if I was in Moab for 1 or 2 days and I only had a few trails to choose from. Cane Creek is probably my favorite trail. Some rental companies will not let you take the vehicle onto Cane Creek because they do get scratched up a lot. If you're bringing your own vehicle, Cane Creek is absolutely doable on 35-inch tall tires with just a locker in the back if you are a good wheeler. If you're driving an overlanding style rig like a Tacoma, the only tricky part of Cane Creek is going to be the last climb that gets you out. That's Hamburger Hill. If you're willing to just pull winch cable for the majority of that climb, you will be fine. But keep in mind, if you take your vehicle onto Cane Creek, the paint is going to get scratched. But that is a small price to pay for up to 45 water crossings and some of the most varied terrain that you're going to find inside Moab, Utah. It's probably going to give you the best glimpse of all the different trails combined into one trail. Moab Rim is a trail that is very close to town. It does have a rather technical climb in 2 sections, but if you are confident in your vehicle or even in the rental Jeep, you can get up to the top of Moab Rim. The overlook is absolutely beautiful. You'll get to see all of the town of Moab from, I think it's about 1,500 feet up. And it is a scary but not difficult trail just because of the exposure you have looking over the ledge to the river below. There's a couple times that you'll actually be a little nervous on that trail, but it's definitely one that I would suggest doing. If you're looking for the ultimate day in Moab, Utah, the trail that you want to do is one that we have looped together a bunch of trails together. We call it the Trifecta Trail. I'll put a link to the track in the description below. It's going to take you all day to complete. I don't believe that you're allowed to take a rental Jeep on part of this trail because Rusty Nail is a very difficult trail, and I don't believe they let you take it on. And plus, I don't think you actually want to. But the trail is this. We start on Poison Spider. That leads us into Golden Spike. We then take a turn and head onto part of Where Eagles Dare, taking the Skyline Drive. That leads us up over to the Golden Crack, and then we drop down to Rusty Nail, and we technically run that trail backwards. Once you come out of Rusty Nail, you're at the start of Gold Bar Rim, so you do a little bit of it on your way out, and then you end up out at Gemini Bridges Road. Lastly, if you're looking just for that quintessential photo moment that you want to share with family and friends, if you're going to Moab, Utah, you're going to rent a Jeep or you're taking your vehicle for the very first time, and you want that picture that everyone loves, the trail is top of the world. If you are going to go to Moab and it's your only time there and you have 1 day, 1 trail, 1 vehicle, and you want that quintessential Moab experience, top of the world. All of these adventure videos are going to include possibly the most important thing, and that is food. I travel by my stomach. I love to eat. So My suggestions for eating in Moab, Utah, there are some amazing restaurants there. But if you want to check off the boxes of the best places to eat, in my opinion, in Moab, here are some options for you. Moab landmark Milt's Hamburgers. It is a small hamburger stand. It's been there for many years. The hamburgers are amazing. The fries are amazing. And best of all, they have some of the best milkshakes and chocolate malts that you can find in and around the area. So if you're looking for a quick lunch spot, no questions asked, stop at Milt's. If you're looking for a good meal at a fair price, you can't go wrong with Sue's Branding Iron. Sue's, like Milt's, is a local establishment. It's been there for an incredibly long time, and it is probably some of the best prime rib for the price that you can get inside Moab, Utah. And they are huge fans of off-roaders and Jeeping in general, and they love when we all show up there and eat. My friend Bill says that it is possibly the best chicken fried steak he's had, and he lives in the South. So take it for what it is. I don't do chicken fried steak, but Bill does, and he said it's probably one of the best. A new restaurant that's opened up in Moab that's become one that I usually go to now every single year, Spitfire Barbecue, small little barbecue joint, very good food, and it's just a great spot if you want just that barbecue style meal. And if you go during Easter Jeep's Fire, you usually see a lot of people there. There's a little bar in the back with a couple of pool tables if you're looking for a little bit of a nighttime adventure spot. Spitfire Barbecue is definitely going to be on the list. For a fancier meal, in my opinion, probably one of the coolest restaurants in Moab, even though there's 5-star resorts downtown now and all these new big hotels are opening up. The Sunset Grill is where you want to go. If you are in Moab, Utah, on a special weekend away with your significant other and you're looking for a super good meal at an amazing restaurant with a insane view, go to the Sunset Grill. Preferably ask to sit outside, but don't forget to walk inside and see the amazing collection that they have of local Moab history. Moab has been a town that has some amazing stories about it, and the Sunset Grill is the place to go to see real artifacts from that era. You have to remember, this town started as a uranium mine and then transitioned into a movie town. And now it's a tourist town. And Sunset Grill has just stuff from all of those eras that you can see and you can look at, and it's just a really, really cool spot. Thanks for tuning in to this quintessential everything you need to know before you go to Moab, Utah for the first time video here on the Big Tire Adventure channel. If there's a place that you've seen me go and you want information about it, put it in the comments below and I'll make a video about it. But this is going to be the channel where you're going to get to see videos like this where I share my local knowledge, and most importantly, videos where I go out and go on adventures. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.